Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am just getting ready, so this is going to be a chatty get ready with me. We're going to get ready for the day. Today is Valentine's Day when I'm filming this. Mike is not home, he's on the road. We celebrated already when he was here. I'm going to go have lunch with my parents. So yeah, I'm just going to get ready. I'll start off by putting some skincare on and then we'll kind of jump in. But yeah, if that sounds interesting, stick around. I'm also going to be using the Vampirism palette from Jolie Beauty. I dabbled with this a little bit yesterday while the baby was sleeping. My daughter was over at my in-laws for a little bit, so I dabbled with that a little bit. I want to do a standalone video, but we're going to use it again in this video. I'm kind of figuring out what look I want to film with it. So yeah, if that sounds interesting, stick around. It's going to be chatty. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and we're going to jump into the video. Done with my skincare, but I thought I would jump on and talk about something that I have been using. I've had this before. This is from Clinique. This is the Moisture Surge eye 96 hour hydro filler. I had like a mini size. This I think is a deluxe size sample. I don't think this is a full size. Maybe it is. My mom like gave me this set for Christmas. She gets like the Clinique free gifts because my mom's a like only Clinique makeup user primarily. But this stuff works really good. I think the little thing, yeah, here's the little sample. Is this the same? Yeah. This is a little too, but this is going to last for, like, I'm still, like, barely here on this. So even if you go over and get a sample, like Dillard sells Clinique and then, like, Ulta, if you can get them to give you a sample, this stuff works really well if you put some on and kind of pat it in and then go in, like, with a gel, like the gel eye masks. I get the jar, the Pixie ones, so you get, like, 30 of them, and just put those on and let them hang out. With this underneath works really, really good. And then I also am still using my Mary Kay Time Wise. I'm not doing the gel pads today, but I did it yesterday because I knew I was playing with an eyeshadow palette. So I knew I was just going to be putting, you know, a little bit on right in here and then taking it off. And my under eyes are so dry. They like will burn, especially if I'm doing like multiple eye looks. So that's helpful. I really like the Clinique Moisture Surge too. Clinique has a lot of really good products. I think they're one of those like slept on brands because people consider them old lady, but their skincare and makeup remover stuff is really good. And then their foundations and powders, I've always thought, like their eyeshadow little palettes, like I could do without them, but like the rest of their like blushes and pressed powders and foundations they're just pricey. So, you know, at that price point, there's other things that I have, but I'm always happy when my mom gives me the sets for like Christmas or Mother's Day, because she'll go and buy something just to get the free gift, and then generally she gives it to me. But I've been using their stuff. I went in with this first. This is the Purely's Watermelon Aqua Bomb. I'm just trying to use it up. I think this came in a Ipsy Plus. And then I went in with the Clinique. My face has been so dry. I don't know if I need a little bit more. I will layer like 3 different moisturizers. Like that's not uncommon. I might go in with a little bit of the Avant one too, just because I have these. My skin has just been dehydrated and dry. So I've been layering. Generally, I'll use at least 2 moisturizers, but I've been layering more just because it's been so dry. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna let that hang out for a little bit, and then we'll jump back on and I'll do primer and all of that. You're supposed to let your skincare kind of sink in for about 10 minutes. I never feel like I have that kind of time. I mean, I never prep early enough. I mean, it's one of those things, if I put it on like when I first got up, that would probably be better. I've been really bad about my skincare, like even doing it at night. The only times I do it in the evenings lately is when it, like my face hurts, which is bad. I need to just be doing it every day and then it probably wouldn't hurt. But And then this is just the Garnier Anti-Dark Circle Roller. It's got a little bit of a tint to it, but it's one of those things you can wear on its own, depending on your skin tone, because it's one of those things, they don't have multiple shades. It's just, you know, that's the only color. So if it works, especially with my glasses on, because you can kind of see the tint underneath, down below where my dark circles are. But it's one of those things with my glasses on, I don't think it's like, would be super obvious. So I could definitely probably get away with just wearing it on its own. But it does, I find, to help a little bit. It's got caffeine in it. So if you have puffiness, it's one of those products I've repurchased a couple of times over the years, and they don't sell it, like it's not in necessarily in the makeup. It's over by where the skincare stuff is. For primer. Normally I go in with my Urban Decay, and then I've been layering it with my Becca. I do have a new bottle. I bought a second one before they went away. Although I think, what is it, Cover Effects? It was either Cover Effects or Smashbox absorbed Becca, so they're selling some of their staple products. I forget which one it is. I think I'm just going to go in with this. This is the Coconut Smoothing Primer. It kind of does what these two do. It smooths and illuminates it. This is from First Aid. It's kind of pricey. I think they sell First Aid Beauty at Target, but you can also get it at Sephora. I think it's worth the money. That's one of those items I got in, I think, an Ipsy or a BoxyCharm, but it really is a good all-in-one, like, smoothing. It moisturizes. So if you don't want to spend the money on the Urban Decay one, and then have an illuminating one to go with it. The Urban Decay one's a little bit thicker, so I feel like it's got a little bit more stain power, especially for like nicer occasions. But this one for like day to day is good. And I just used this one on its own for a long, long time until I went back to the combo. I go back and forth. I do like a little bit of a glow, so I use one combo or another. The Touch and Soul has a good smoothing primer too, and they all work well layering with this. Charlotte Tilbury has a similar product, and if you don't want to spend that price point, the L'Oreal Illuminating will do the same thing, and that one's like $10. But they all work, they play well together, I should say, because some primers don't work well together, and then some primers and foundations don't work well together, so you got to find a combo that likes one another if you're going to mix things. Move my camera slightly. It's blocking the drawer. I don't know if I want to go in with the ColourPop one. I don't feel like wearing a ton per se. This is even lighter coverage, the Pure. The other good one on top, the Wet n Wild tinted one is good. The rest of these I'm getting into like foundations. My favorite foundation is still Wander Beauty CC. I think I'm just going to use one of these. I haven't used the ColourPop one a lot, and this is a gigantic tube, I feel like, so let's just use a little bit of that. I feel like I've heard that this doesn't have as long as a shelf life as some of the others, so let's use this. That way I get some use out of it before it expires. I think this is only like the third time I've used this. It still smells fine. It's nice that it's in like a pump tube, so it's not like a regular. I feel like it's sealed a little better than like a regular squeeze tube, so hopefully that will help keep. And I may be thinking of the foundation. I heard one of their face products has a short shelf life. Hopefully it's the foundation and not that, because I have so many and I haven't been wearing makeup much that I feel like maybe it's the foundation, because I think I've had this past when I heard people were saying things were going bad, it was like 6 months or something. I feel like I've had this longer than that, so. Because I got it one of my trips to Montana, and I have so many foundations and stuff, things just don't get used because I don't wear makeup hardly at all anymore. It's just one of those things. This has a little bit more coverage than like the Pure. All of them do. The Pure is probably the lightest coverage out of all of the skin tints, but I like that because I don't need much. The Wet n Wild's got a lot of coverage. So if you're looking for a tinted moisturizer with it, this one or the Wet n Wild one's got decent pigmentation in it. So you're gonna get a little bit more coverage. I feel like the Pure one just has a tiny bit. But like I said, I don't need much, so I think that's why I like it. Kind of feel like I'm not really wearing. I think the Urban Decay smooths just a little bit more than that First Aid Beauty one, but it's still good if you're looking for an all-in-one instead of having to combine like I do to get that. Like if you don't want to do a combo, especially because both of those products that I use are on the pricier side. I feel like there's a hair, something my face itches. There's always like, I'll try and wipe my brushes off, but with the dogs and the cat, I feel like there's always a little bit of animal hair on my brushes, and then I rub them on my face and then it'll itch. I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the Pixi color corrector. Again, Becca had a color correcting product, and I feel like that's one of the ones that the, I feel like it was Cover Effects that took over. But again, I could be wrong. I feel like that's one of the products they're selling, and then their highlighter, they picked up like their highlighters. So you can still get some of Becca's products at Sephora, but I feel like the eye corrector was one of the products that got absorbed, which is nice because the people, at least some of the ones that I've seen on YouTube that liked it, like, have said it's good. The Pixie one's just cheaper, even though I feel like Pixie's a pricier drugstore brand. Normally I would go in with a third, like just a dab of a super, like, because I do have one of the ColourPop ones from their Pretty Fresh line. Mine's super, super pale. This isn't Fair 05. Generally I'll do like a little dot just to brighten my under eyes. I just don't really feel like wearing makeup. It's one of those things, the baby's asleep. I'm gonna meet my parents for lunch. I figured I'd put a little bit on. Do you ever have those days where you just don't really feel like wearing any makeup, but you're like, oh, okay, I will anyway? It's kind of like that today. Don't really feel like it, but I'm gonna put a little bit on. I'm just gonna go in with my number 7 pressed powder. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury, which again, number 7 is not like the cheapest drugstore brand. I feel like there's a lot of brands. Even e.l.f. is getting up there in price with some of their stuff. I remember back in the day, like Wet n Wild, even e.l.f., you know, had their $1 products and $2 products. Even CoverGirl, I feel like, was cheaper. Now everything is like in the $10 range. And then you've got Physicians Formula and Pixie in the, you know, the $20 range, which at that point, you can spend, you know, a few more dollars and just, you're in the high end. There's like a hair on my face right there and it itched. Now my face itches. Yeah, I think that's why I do have a Physicians Formula palette that I got on Amazon for like $10. I think it was one of their like holiday palettes from this past year. Because yeah, the butter bronzer, it's probably shocking that I've never tried that, but it's like a $20 bronzer, which at that point, you can spend a little bit more and just get Too Faced. I think that's why I've never bought, you know, I don't buy a lot of Physicians Formula because at that price tag, you know, I'm almost at high end. I'm actually going to use, let's look and see what is in. I just set my face. Let me pull out, if I can find it. It's like buried down below here. This is the All-Star. I feel like this was a holiday palette. So you get like the butter bronzer. There's this new matte. There's a highlighter. There's, I don't know what this is. Multicolored press powder. The blush, my blush broke a little bit, cracked around the edges. And then you have this other highlighter. So I figured this would be good. And I think I'm going to use, instead of using my Makeup Revolution for my glowy powder, I'm just going to use the one out of my Too Faced. Just use the soft focus powder out of here, just because I never use this. I don't think it's as glowy as the Makeup Revolution one, but I have it. And it was expensive, so we're going to use it. Okay. And then for contour, let me go in down in here, my contour. Actually, I'm going to do eyebrows first, and then we'll get into contour. I'll do that off camera. And then okay, for some contour, I'm going to go into the Fenty in Amber. And then we'll go in with the bronzer from Physicians Formula. I wish I could have been able to get the stick one, but I do, like, this is pretty easy to get the product out of with the brush, and it is nice because it does blend on top of powder. I haven't had any issues with it pulling makeup or looking weird. The stick would have just been easier to use, but this is one of their most popular shades. So I was like thankful that I could get this. I wasn't sure how I was gonna like it because I'm not a huge cream product user, but I do really like this, and I do find myself using it. Generally, I'll just use a matte bronzer for contour, but this is an actual, because it's got a cool undertone, this is an actual like contour. And that's the difference between contour and bronzer, if you're curious, is a true contour is going to have a cool, like a gray undertone. But you can use either for either. So let's go in here. Normally I will go in with like a shimmery bronzer and kind of blend out my contour, but we're going to try the butter bronzer since I've never used it. And it's a little bit of a satin finish, it looks like to me. It doesn't look like a true matte. Obviously the one that says matte down below is a little bit darker and says matte, but the matte one looks a little more orangey, which is fine. Okay, and then we will go in with the highlighter, and it just says powder petal mineral glow pearls. Just says limited edition. It looks super glittery. I think I had some powder on this because there's some color transfer happening here. Woo! That's intense. I'll have to go in and blend that out a little bit here. And it is glittery, So if you don't like that, maybe go in with a lighter hand, but you can see like the color transfer from whatever was on my brush, which all of my brushes are dirty. And then I'm going to go in here and try and blend this out so it doesn't look like I got a giant strip of silver on my face. Okay. Clean off whatever was on that. My daughter also comes in and will, so I try to be careful, make sure the brushes are clean. It's happened before where I've like dunked in and had like metallic on my contour brush. So we're going to try the Happy Booster Glow blush. It's very natural. Yeah, I don't mind that highlighter, but it's very, very intense. So just go in with a lighter hand. I think I got too much on my brush. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of the golden one just because that other one's intense. Don't necessarily want that on my nose. Okay. So that's not bad. I don't mind that. Like I said, I just been curious to try their stuff. And that was a good deal on Amazon. Like I said, it was only $10 for that palette. So that's why I bought it. Let's see here. I'm going to use a little bit of the Pixie Glow Mist just because I'm trying to use this up. This does have a little bit of an aggressive spray, so just be careful. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the e.l.f. Stay All Nighter. This is a good one. I don't know if it's necessarily like it's 100% as good as the Urban Decay All Nighter, but it's definitely decent and it does a good job at locking like makeup in. It's one of those things I'd have to do like a side by side to really be able to see a difference. I mean, my makeup lasts. I don't wear makeup like 16 hours like I was doing before, so the setting sprays don't have to work as hard. But it seems to do a decent job. I'm trying to look at that blush. That blush is really light. I mean, it's not bad. Natural. That's the word I'm going to use. It's a natural blush. Let me find it. I lost it. Putting stuff back. I'm going to put just a tad. I feel like I have less blush on this side than I do on the other side. My neighbor next door is moving dirt probably, so I think that's what you're hearing. There's trucks and stuff outside. I think that looks a little more even. I felt like I had more pink. So we'll spray again. Okay. Let me put some eye primer on. I think I'm just going to use my MAC paint pot today. I haven't been using that this as often, so we're going to use it today. Mine is in the shade Soft Ochre. Mine is starting to get old because you can see it's starting to come off from the side, so I need to probably use this. This is expensive. It's a $20 primer, but it does a good job. It's just not, if you're used to more of a concealer type, it's definitely a thicker base. So there's differences. Like when I want something to really grip, I'll go in with the Gerard Clean Canvas, which is more of a concealer consistency. This is drier, so I feel like it doesn't necessarily grip anything as well. So it just depends on what you're looking to do, but it is good. It does help lock things in. And then I still go in with the glitter glue for shimmer. So we're gonna try, I used this palette the last time with the Gerard Clean Canvas. So, and I'm just gonna do a basic look with it. I think I'm just gonna use, this is what the palette looks like. Again, it's the Vampirism palette from Jolie Beauty. This is an indie brand out of the UK. She's on Instagram and she has a smaller YouTube channel. So this is what the palette looks like. The other palette of hers that I'm interested in, she has a Sorcery palette that she came out with last year that's more like purples. It's more of a purpley palette, whereas this is some reds and some greens and stuff. There's a couple of pressed glitters. I haven't tried them yet, so I can't speak to her pressed glitter formula. I don't mind pressed glitters. So if you're someone that doesn't like them, just know her palettes. I think all of them have at least one. I could be mistaken on that, but I don't mind pressed glitters. And it's one of those things, if there's only a few, I'm gonna use Lestat, which is the shimmery white under. Yeah, if you're somebody that doesn't like pressed glitter, then if it's just a few, because glitter is not something that I'm going to use often either. So if it's just a couple, it doesn't bother me. It's when, you know, half the palette is pressed glitter that it will start to annoy me. Or if it's a bad glitter formula, obviously, because then those are like dead shadows. I'm just going to use a couple of the berries, I think, today. Just do something simple. Pet hair is unreal. Okay. My brushes are all dirty. I'm going to go in with, I think, Pulse. Maybe we'll do a little Cursed, a little Pulse, and a little Slade. She does have two, like, duochromes, Vampirism and Venom. Or, like, duochromy shades. I played around with Venom, which is a purple to green shift, and then the Vampirism is like a green gold shift, so it's not as obvious that it's like a true duochrome. I think she calls them chameleon shades. Just gonna put this in the outer corner, like so. We're just gonna do something simple and not. And I actually did try the black in here when I used this the first time. That's called Shadows, and it is actually a decent black. I think that can say a lot about a brand's formula, especially being indie brand. It did have some pigmentation and it blended, like it wasn't chalky or like patchy or anything. So far I think she has a decent formula. And it didn't, I don't know, Mike ordered this palette for me. I don't know when he ordered it, but I feel like her shipping was probably relatively fast considering it is something that came from the UK. So we're going to go in with Pulse. I probably should have done Pulse first, but that's all right here. Just said I'm not trying to do anything super complicated. But I didn't really notice, like I said, this is the only second time I've used it. I haven't really noticed any patchiness. The shades seem to blend fairly easily. There is some pigmentation, but it's not like bam in your face pigmentation. You do have to, like, there is some building up, which is fine. I don't find that I have to re-dip a ton. But I feel like that's going to be nice because not everybody wants, you know, bam pigmentation right off the bat, especially if you're not as experienced, because then you got to sit there longer to blend. So I can appreciate having a little bit. being able to build a little bit, because not everybody wants pressed pigment. It's basically here. Like I said, it's indie, especially newer indie. There's a ton on the market now, and it can be a little bit scary. I'm just going to go into Undead, which is just more of a cream matte shadow. Because the palettes are, you know, around the $40 price point, because, you know, obviously it costs them more to manufacture and all that. So then you're taking a gamble. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Coffin. I think with those warmer purple, this looks odd. It's not the shadow. Coffin's a little bit more of a bricky color. We got cool tones and warm tones here, and it's looking odd. It just has to do with my shade picking, not the shadow. Okay, so the other palette of hers that I have looked at is the Sorcery Palette. I'm gonna go in with my flat brush and my glitter glue. Like, that's all I'm doing on the top. Like I said, just basic. Nothing in crazy today. And I'm gonna go in with Hypnotic, which is a gold. And then I'm gonna put some of Bitten, which is a shimmery purple. The baby was asleep. Swing. She woke up. I'll go get her in a second. Let me just try and finish this. Get to it. So we'll go in with Bitten towards the end here. Kind of blend that in since we got purple. And this almost looks like duochrome too. It's got a pinky shift to it. I will say a lot of her shimmers, I have a better time using my finger, but that's, especially with like the duochromes, like that's not uncommon, because I have a lot of brands where I have to go in with a finger. And then I'm going to go into, I think it's Sanguis. I don't know how to pronounce that. Just on the outer part here. Deeper. Okay, I'm gonna go help the baby, and then I'll do something with the lower lash line, and I'll come back and show you. I went in with Coffin and then a little bit of Solace on the lower lash line, and then I think I'm just gonna do like gold in the waterline maybe. Woo! Okay, let's see, I should have a gold on top. Yeah, I'm just gonna use Pixie's, whatever their gold is called. I like Pixie's. They're metallics. They're really creamy and they stay, because my eyes are always runny. That's not where my eyeliners are. Let's see. I'm trying to use some up. Let me just use, this is the Ciate London. I think This was a collab. This is the stamp, like the felt tip, and then the other end is a stamp. I have a bunch in there I'm just trying to use. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of finding good color combinations with that palette. I just need to play with it some more. I don't use purples a ton, so I think I'll probably get more use out of the grungy green side, but I like having the option, and I like the duochromes that are in it. There's like a trichrome and, you know, the duochromes, and yeah, she's got some interesting colors in there, so it is something I'm interested. I don't even think I'm going to do a wing today because I just don't feel like it. Get a mascara out. I'll use my Milk makeup one today. So I definitely need to play with it more and then do a look. So we'll have to, yeah, this Venom shade is one of the chameleon. Like you can see the shift in there, and then Bitten is the one. It's got a pinky shift, and then Vampirism is another where it's got, you know, the different shifties shades. So she's got some pretty colors in there and some fun things to play with. My eyes are just running so bad. Part of it's probably because I don't wear makeup often anymore. And I think I'll just do my favorite Eyelure 3/4 length. These are the light volume ones. These are one of my favorite lashes to wear. I get them on Amazon. I just order them. Eyelure is like a UK brand. Change the rubber in this. This is my Shiseido Curler. It's a $20 eyelash curler, but it works really, really well. I don't know what it is about it because I used the spare rubber piece from my Melt curler, and you would think it would work. Like this one doesn't work as well. I have it, obviously, as like a backup kind of a situation, but... And I will say the nice thing with the Vampirism, like I don't notice like much fallout, so that's nice. I'm not used to having to do my eyes first. I did the other day just because I was only doing my eyes. But that's hard for me to do my makeup that way. I'm just not used to it. And when I do it, I have to do my eyebrows are on, because then that throws me off. For me, it's just easier to put my base on and then deal with fallout. So this is pretty much it. I'm just going to throw the lashes on. I'm not going to do a lip today. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This is pretty much the finished look. Like I said, I do plan on doing a standalone video with that palette. I'm just trying to work out the look that I want to do. And hopefully you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And I'll see you in another video very, very soon. Bye, everybody.